Hey guys, welcome to the ScuttleButt Podcast. I am your host, Amanda Buckner, owner and operator of Untamed Fitness Martial Arts in Mountlake, Terrace. Today, I really wanted to go over like a short video. I know, like, usually I end up like ranting for about 30 minutes on whatever it is, but I feel like it's entertaining, right? You guys are entertained? I think so. But I was reading this really cool article of existentialism, and the article was talking about how it applied to mental health. And I have this like very holistic idea, not a new idea, right? That, everything leads into everything, right? Like that sounds very vague and like almost pompous, right? But everything health wise leads into other parts of your health, right? So um just like literally everything else, right? Like let's talk about we all hear about that work life balance, right? Like there's this mental seesaw of like, well, work is on one side and life is on the other. And if your work is doing really good, your life sucks. But if your life is doing really good, then you're sucking at work, right? And this idea that you can only be good at one area is literally setting yourself up for failure, right? So it's like it's justifying working yourself into the ground and like sacrificing your health, your family, everything else for money, right? And eventually that goes away too. So you can get laid off one day and then you don't have either. So that's terrifying. There's this book called Align Your Empire, and it talks about, instead of this work-life balance thing, um, it talks about that there's 6 areas of your life, right? And in order to make sure that you're being successful to whatever degree that you define your success by, whether it's money, whether it's happiness, whether it's being able to travel, spend time with your family, whatever it is, it's the idea that you need to align each one of these 6 areas to make it that you are successful. So it's not work on one side, life on the other. Sorry, kids, I have to go to work, right? It's I took that. We'll talk about this like in another podcast, just because the book is so amazing. It's so good. But I took it as, I am an independent contractor. Like, just at the time I was a personal trainer. I had no other people working with me, working for me. And it was just me being a trainer, right? And so my work was very flexible on the hours, which was awesome because I got to spend a little bit more time with my kids. But if I just focused on work and I didn't spend any time with the kids, that's where I go back into that seesaw, right? Where I was like, well, work's doing really good, guys. We can afford to pay rent and all that stuff. But, sorry, you're going to have to go spend time with a babysitter, right? So instead of doing that, I took the ideas that was in that Align Your Empire book, and I aligned all of those other facets of life, such as family, fitness, finances. They're not all F's, I promise. There's networking, there's spirituality, there's all of these different areas. And I took that and I built my own business. So now I have a personal trainer studio where I'm able to have other personal trainers work out of. They can bring their own clients. They can get clients through me if they don't want to do like the marketing stuff, right? And then also it has childcare. So my kids can hang out and they're not just like stuck in a corner or like told to sit on a bench and be quiet and pretend like you're not a person that has wants and needs, right? So I've literally, from reading that book, taken my business and expanded it to help my business, to help my family, to help my networking, to help like literally every single part of the aspects of my life, right? And I guess I can tell you in a year or two if it worked out well or not, but so far it's so good. But anyways, let's go back to the point of today's journey, which is going to be, like I said, existentialism. What is existentialism? Usually, we hear about it in movies when they're like, "I'm having an existential crisis. I don't know who I am. I don't know like why I'm here. What am I doing?" Like it's usually people working at a job for like the last 20 years, and they realize like they get a 25-cent raise, and they're like, "Why am I doing this?" Like they go out and buy a motorcycle or whatever. I don't know. But existentialism is pretty much the idea that there's no grand meaning to everything, right? And I really like this idea for the fact that it's not saying that it's a one size fits all. Not everybody's meaning in life is like a cookie cutter, right? Like my meaning in life is different than your meaning in life, different from my dog's potatoes meaning in life, right? Different than Aurora's meaning in life, right? And that's because we ourselves give meaning to our lives. How does this feed into fitness, right? We always have to go back to fitness. This is like, for example, we're starting a 6-week strength program on Friday, right? And for some people, strength means super heavy deadlift, super heavy chest press. My muscles are huge. Strength for other people means being able to confidently walk down a street and not feel like they can't defend themselves. Strength for other people means being able to stick up for themselves. And confidence is built literally through doing things that you feel comfortable with, right? So like being able to exercise and like push past those comfort levels and comfort points and show that you are like stronger and more capable than you thought you were. Like literally my whole personal training, I don't want to say career, I guess my career, right? But like I run into people where they're like, I'm just bored. Like I'm bored doing workouts. I'm bored trying to improve myself. Right. They're like, like I've already hit my weight limit and my nutrition's on point. And like, they get to a point where they're just like, why am I doing this? Right. And this happens so often. I could like almost bet money on it. Right. Let's go on this journey. Right. Okay, let's go back to our conversation. My dog was eating a crayon. I don't know why he likes to eat crayons. Anyways, going back to fitness existential crisis. You let's say you're 50 pounds overweight and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try to go to the gym. And you find out you go to the gym and you're trying to do it yourself. You have like a Planet Fitness membership, like $10 a month, something tiny like that, right? And yeah, you have the membership, but you're like, I'll just go later. All of a sudden, 6 months go by and you still haven't used your Planet Fitness membership. You're like, okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to cancel that membership. Okay, I need a little bit more, like focus. I need people to like keep me accountable. I need a buddy. So you go to group classes. You're like, okay, cool. That's like the next step. I got to go have these other people, have this community that can support me. So you go to group classes. Oh, you start losing weight because now you're like having fun. These other people are kind of keeping you accountable, right? But if you're not paying attention to your form or if your class size is too big, what usually happens is the trainer, the fitness instructor, right, is paying attention to 30 people, right? 20 to 30 people per class and is not focusing on your specific form. And what happens is, you do a squat or you do a lunge with a weight that maybe you shouldn't have done yet, or you don't realize that you're using your back instead of your glutes to stabilize your legs and you hurt yourself. So you end up taking some time off, like maybe like 2 weeks off to kind of get your back into back into shape. Your back recovered, right? Get well rested. In that time, in those 2 weeks, you gain back all of the weight that you were so happy to get off, right? Because you're like bored. Now you're depressed. Now you knew how it was to work out. You have people hitting you up being like, hey, where are you? and you feel like you're letting people down because this group class that originally was like, keeping you going, keeping you motivated is now almost like a pain point. You're like, well, I hurt myself. I can't do anything. Right. So after that, after you get hurt, you feel like you're almost ashamed to take that much time off and go back. Right. Like I'm telling you, this is a consistent trend, right? Like I'm not making this story up. This it happens all of the time for so many people. I want to tell you, like, you're not alone. I'm not making this up, right? And so you take time off. You want to go back to a group class, right? You go back and you're expecting to go back in and start lifting the weights where you were at, or you expect like your old friends to be there, and you go back and it's different. You can't lift the same weights, so you're down on yourself. Maybe like those weeks off that you had to take, you could have like caused another imbalance. Like you started with a back issue and you had to sit around so much that now you have a hip issue. Now you have a knee issue. Now your feet hurt, right? And it's just like it seems like a downward spiral. All of a sudden your people that used to support you, that were calling you and making sure that you were all right, they're not there anymore. So now you feel alone in your group class. You don't want to go back, right? So now you're back to square one. You have like maybe the same amount of weight, if not more, that you have to lose, right? You're still depressed. Now you're injured. And now you're scared to even go into another group class because you hurt yourself in the first one, right? I've heard so many times they're like, well, I tried exercising once and I hurt myself, so I just stopped. Like, what? That's not the lesson here. Just because you have one bad relationship doesn't mean you never get in a relationship ever again. Just means that one relationship was bad and you learned from it, and now you know what to avoid, right? So maybe group classes weren't the best. You needed to like figure out a little bit more about yourself, about your proprioception, which is just like your body's existence in space, like my hand being here, I can wiggle my fingers, right? Really, really hard if I was here, like with my foot, right? Put my foot here, I can wiggle my toes, right? Most people just wiggle their toes like this, right? It's really hard to individualize your, what do you call this? Drumming of your toes, right? Which is like a class that we talk about when we're doing personal training, right? But this, so far, you still need that weight loss. You've tried everything. You've even tried like getting diet tips and fasting, and I don't know, like I remember there was like a lemon juice and cayenne pepper diet loss, which was like, I don't know how people did that. It was like maple syrup, lemon, and cayenne pepper. You would just drink that for like 3 days, and oh my God, you would lose 15 pounds. Of course, because you're dehydrating, like you're just, your body's eating itself. And then once you start eating food again, you gain all that weight back. But anyways, I digress. So let's go back to this example person, right? They've tried the regular gym membership. They've tried the group gym membership. This is when you come to me, the personal trainer, the one-on-one interactions, which for a long time, I didn't realize why people wanted to do personal training, right? Usually when they come to me, like I said, going back to existentialism, right? They're like, I just feel hopeless. I feel like this isn't going to work. I don't even really know why I'm trying anymore. Like their mindset is so jaded from failing, quote unquote, failing the last however many times that they've tried to lose weight, that they come to me and they're just like, this is just kind of like my last stop before I just, go and just accept that this is my fate, that I'm going to have diabetes and I'm going to die from a heart attack in about 5 years. Like, oh, well, that's no, don't accept that. So working with a personal trainer, I'm able to individualize that training process, right? Like I said, they have a injury in their back most recently, right? So a lot of times if somebody has a back injury, I'm going to work on fixing and strengthening the muscles that stabilize the spine, right? So there's little smaller muscles that stabilize your spine. There's bigger longitudinal muscles that run on either side of your spine that also need to be strengthened. There's muscles that like turn your body like this. They're called the QL is like quadris lumborum. All right. It's like the official name, right? But that's literally the muscle that goes like this, right? Like that tilts you side to side like this. So that would have to be strengthened. We do a lot of like twisting, single leg stuff, things that like your body has to support itself whilst doing these motions. So we're like building this really solid, amazing foundation literally before we ever pick up a weight. And usually this is through bands. We could do kettlebell swings. We could do body weight like squats. We could do wall sits using the stability ball. But all of these things, you're focusing on stabilization so that you can build up. Like, I want to be a world champion kickboxer. I'm not just going to go and sign up for a world champion kickboxing competition. I'm going to build up. I'm going to start training. And then after training, I'm going to go to sparring. And then once I feel comfortable sparring, I'm going to go and spar friendly at other gyms. After I do that, I'm going to have my first local fight. After a local fight, I'm going to feel confident enough to go to a national level or a regional level, right? Regional level goes to national level. National level goes to, what do you call it? Like Pan Americans, right? Pan Americans leads into the world. So like, I would love to just be world champion. Just show up one day and be like, well, let's see what happens. But I will probably be murdered. You got to build it up. Like you gotta go through the process. And even though like, the idea that, life has no meaning. Why are we here? We're just on a ball of, I don't know, like molten hot lava floating through space. And like, there's no aliens and we're all alone in the world, blah, blah, blah. Like, what does it matter? It matters to you. Plain and simple, right? Kickboxing is important to me. It has meaning for me. And therefore, I'm able to learn so much about life that somebody else that maybe their sport is chess, right? Like different mindset, different physical abilities that are needed, right? But they're able to find meaning in their life through their sport. And therefore, we learn the same lessons, just in a different way, right? Doesn't have to be a sport or a game, right? You could be a computer programmer. You love doing Python and writing code and, I don't know, whatever it is you guys do, right? I try to do cyber intelligence for 2 years. I tried so hard. I even built my own computer and I was like, yes, okay. I'm absorbing the information. This is great. And then they were like, all right, could you tell me where the virus is? And I was like, yes. If you could just point to it on the computer, like just looking at like a motherboard, I'm like, just show me where it is on here. We can just take that piece out, which has the virus on it. We could just replace it. And then the computer won't have a virus. That's how it works, right? And literally like so many people just like face palmed me that I was like, okay, I don't think I understand this. I think I'm a very visual person. Like, this is a phone. This is a pen. This is a little teeny tiny chicken, right? Like, I'm a very visual person. Like concept things, abstract things are like a little bit more difficult for me. So yes, I now understand that like there's no physical location of where a virus is, right? It's just like a suggestion. But for some people, that is their world. That is their jam. They love cyber intelligence. Like, they will work 60 hours a day to do whatever it is they do on the computer, right? But that's how they find meaning, right? And like, just because it means something to you and not for somebody else doesn't mean that it's meaningless, right? You losing 50 pounds, like, doesn't mean the same to me as it does to you, right? You losing your 50 pounds, like, at Untamed Fitness, it's literally strength through confidence is our or confidence through strength is our like motto, right? Strength through confidence. Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be either way, but confidence through strength, right? And that's literally just because like once people start working out, their mindset changes. They start to feel better about themselves, all because they're feeling better about themselves. They start to take more like exciting risks. All of this, like what I talk about this lady all the time. I met this lady, and from me doing my first training session with her to our, like, now it's just programming, right? It's been years. But she was like, very overweight, and literally just her doing personal training, she lost over 100 pounds and became a marathon runner. Like, let that sink in. I do not run marathons. I would love to like turn everybody into fighters, right? Because like I love fighting. We could like talk about that forever, right? But she like, she started working out. She decided that there were some things going on in her life that didn't make sense, that didn't mesh well with like her inside vibes, right? And she changed it. Like working out gave her the confidence to change her lifestyle and like recognize that she was doing things that didn't align with who she was. And instead of like, all right, well, I'll fix it in the next lifetime, I guess. She literally was like, oh, I don't want to be this person. I don't like this person. You know what? I'm going to change it. And she changed it. She lost over 100 pounds, started doing marathon running, and I could not be more proud of her. She's amazing. But anyways, let me know your thoughts of this. Like, I feel like everything, like I said, everything's kind of connected. Mindset, especially for physical health, right? If you feel like your mind's kind of cloudy, go for a run, go for a walk. And it's like, it improves your overall well-being so suddenly that it's like, oh, maybe everything is connected. Well, that's pretty much it. This is only 22 minutes. This is great. Look at this. This is like a short little chat. So let me know your thoughts on this. How do you feel existentialism plays into your own fitness journey? Right. So I don't need to know like theories and stuff. I guess if you want to put that down, you could. But like you personally, what is your fitness journey, and how has existentialism played a factor into it? Like I know for myself, after every single fight camp, I eat really, really healthy, and I go into a fight, which is super high energy. And then the day afterwards, I am the saddest. I am in a pit. Even if I won, right? Like, I'm just like, life has no meaning anymore. I need to fight again. And it's weird, right? But like, now that I know that that's going to happen, I can warn other fighters like, hey, just going to let you know, you're going to feel sad for a few days and it's okay. And sure enough, everyone feels sad after a fight. And they're like, I just don't know why. Like, it's okay. Okay. I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to go drive to the airport because I have to go pick people up. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Oh, Aurora wants to say bye too. Bye. Bye.